quotations and wrote, "Pass the door." All right.
Streaming.
Didor, after you left your humble village, leaving your father behind, going on your perceived holy quest, the world at large was, much to your surprise, quite out of balance everywhere you went. Nothing seemed quite right. Whether it be wizards or sorcerers, twisting the natural laws to their own words. You even found druids who seemed to follow their own path, encouraging one kind of nature over another. Much to your dismay, you knew the task you set before you was much larger than even you had thought beforehand. As you left the region around the Iron Steps and headed north, you encountered swaths of undead, much beyond what you considered to be natural. Battling your way north, you sought to cut their numbers down, find the source, and bring the world back into its proper alignment. One day, you stumbled upon the ruins of what looked to be a large city. Based off of your understanding of the world, you believed this to be once the city known as Duradberg. It was from here that you saw hordes of undead flowing forth. Though oddly, as you got closer to the city, the flow of undead slowed to a trickle. You peered out from the woods. You saw figures on horseback heading from around the city, the ruins of the city. You heard loud noises, and you saw what undead were milling about fall. What do you do?
They just fall randomly?
They seem to be just falling. You hear loud explosive noises, explosions, and men on horseback. You see them armored in some kind and holding some kind of weapons, though it's hard to see from where you are.
I remain stealth and observe further.
That gives me a self check. Might help if I had my dice ready.
22.
Alright, that should do. 22. Alright, give me a perception check.
16.
Alright. As the mounted figures ride around the city, you see they're wielding some kind of weird amalgamation of metal and wood forged into some kind of long, narrow tube, slight bends. You note that they seem to point these magic sticks, which create an explosive fire and puffs of smoke as you watch the undead around the city collapse. You see no sign of how is causing it, but you do see the connection. You also note that the figures seem to be wearing some kind of half plate, though that whatever insignia they have seems to be covered up with large dark robes over top the metal armor. As you watch, they rein up in front of the city, maybe 50 or 60 feet in front of you. They circle their mounts and seem to drop every undead they see in sight. What do you do?
I step out of hiding and greet them.
Greet them.
Greetings. I see that you're dealing with the... Sorry, hold on.
Yep.
Greetings. I see that you're dealing with the overflow of undead. I'd like to offer my assistance, if I may.
Give me a perception check.
8.
Alright. You notice nothing strange as one of the riders canters forward slightly, moving a bit closer. He looms over you from the top of the horseback. His dark skin appears covered in some kind of ash or soot. Who are you, traveler?
The door, son of Minrin.
And what are you doing here? This is dangerous land.
I can see. The balance of the Earth? Yeah, balance of the Earth is off kilter. I set out to fix it.
Ah, you're a forest priest then.
Druid, but close enough, yes.
Give me a perception check.
18.
All right. In response to the mounted man saying forest priest and your response of druid, you catch a few looks passing between the other mounted figures behind the man. We have camped just around the city. Come join us.
Gladly.
Good. You start walking it in the direction they're indicating?
Yeah.
As you do so, the horses rein up around you, forming some kind of escort almost, with you at the middle.
Gentlemen, I'm more than capable. I don't need your protection, although I do appreciate it.
You hear a mild grunt in response, though none of them move out of formation. A few minutes of walking, you find yourself approaching what looks to be a small, militaristic-looking camp, with neat orderly rows, simple tents, and a larger campfire set in the middle. You see a few unhorsed men moving about, though you see a small stockade, or not stockade, a small horse line with what you can only assume to be our additional mounts and remounts. Please, have a seat at the fire.
I oblige. I'm gonna roll a perception just to get a better idea. What is the overall mood of the people around me?
Not perception, insight.
Insight is my insight. A lot. 25.
You get the immediate impression that all the figures that are immediately around you are quite surprised to see you. You get a sense of nervousness, alertness, and more than a small dose of wary caution. And that only amplifies as you make your way into camp.
Why do I feel like I'm not supposed to be here? We're already off the rails. Alright. I'd try to put on a friendly face.
A plain-looking man in a white linen smock approaches you and gestures to a large rock. You see a series of which are set around the fire. You'd suppose they're clearly seats, makeshift seats. And he brings you over a small bowl of stew.
Thank you. How kind. Sit down crisscross applesauce and start digging in.
Well, when you're about near the end of your bowl, the original man you saw from before that spoke to you approaches. His face seems to have been cleaned of the ash and soot from before. You note that the ash itself seemed to cover a large series of scars crisscrossing both his face and his arms, which are now bare of the metal armor. He sits down 2 rocks away from you and leans in seriously. I am Commander Kaspar Erhardt. I need to know why you are here.
Balance of the earth it's been shaken. I'm here to set things right.
Where are you from?
From the great forest outside of the Iron Steppes.
So you're from Sathis.
Is that what it's called?
You don't know the name of your own country?
We very rarely left the forest.
And tell me, you're into this balance. What are your thoughts on progress? He places a special emphasis on the last word.
Progress is fine as long as it communes well with nature.
And what does that mean to you?
Well, forest is always given, and the forest produces resources. You need resources for progress, but if you completely wipe out nature, there's no more progress.
Give me a perception check.
6.
You note that this Caspar across from you seems to have a smaller version of one of those metal sticks attached to his belt. You note occasionally his hand seems to slide slightly in the direction of it before returning to his knees. He looks up at you, seriousness in his eyes. I'm sorry, Dodor, but we're going to have to detain you.
But why?
You're a Saphan spy, obviously.
Who?
You say who, and as you get that word out, it's muffled by a grunt of pain as something strikes you in the back of the head, knocking you unconscious.
Okay.
Don't worry, Chris, it was always going to go this way.
You come to with a striking headache. Not sure where you are, what's going on, or why whatever just happened. As far as you can tell, you said everything right. You said nothing wrong. And yet you are still seemingly attacked. A large, churning smoke cloud catches your eye, and you immediately sense that you're heading somewhere northeast. And as you draw closer in the wooden cart that you find yourself in, you can see what looks to be a massive city, dwarfing the ruins of Duradberg that you seem to have just left. Mounted men ride all around you, their armor on, and their long metal tubes in their hands. A few look over at you. They seem to be quite cruel now that you find yourself in a cage. A few spit, muttered curses. The word you most hear often is spy. Caspar, the man you saw before, reins up next to the cage. Your trial will be soon. Prepare yourself. The bureaucrats are not kind on spies.
It's easy to defend yourself when you're innocent.
You're from Sathis. You were scouting the ruins. And you saw our search party. You're a spy. You're guilty. Good luck when they send you to the mines. And he rides forward. In a blur of activity, you find yourself riding through what can only be described as a Gothic architecture-filled city. Plumes of smoke burst from random buildings. Clanging noises and gears seem to echo across the streets. All the people around you appear to be dirty, soot-covered, not smut-covered. The noises seem to bellow out, and you get the feeling that this is day and night here. You're hustled into seems to be an ornate building built with a marble front. You're brought and placed into a metal cage before a large dais upon which you see an elderly gentleman in all black robes sitting. The defendant may rise, another figure says from the darkened corner.
I rise.
The defendant has been brought before the Justice of Damaris on the charge of espionage. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
The officer of the court will read the facts as presented by the arresting officer. Caspar steps up next to the cage. This elf, known as Dodor, was found in the ruins of Duradberg, clearly scouting out for the proposed invasion of Sathis from Damaris. He's a Sathan citizen, but denies all knowledge of his own country, clearly giving the lie to his own excuse. The judge nods, looks down at you. Mr. Dodor, any evidence for your own cause?
I offered my assistance upon first seeing the accuser. Secondly, I've only read about you people in my father's scriptures, but are you not familiar with mine? The Druids, I mean?
Forest priest. You are found guilty before this court and sentenced to hard labor in the northern work camps.
This is kangaroo court. No.
The gavel slams down. You find yourself hustled down into a dark dungeon lair. You're kept for you don't know how many days. You're fed nothing but bread and water before suddenly you're brought back out into the sunlight, placed in another wooden cage. You find yourself trekking across what you can only describe as the desolate wasteland of Damaris. You see manufactured machinery, plumes of smoke, and engines everywhere. It seems as if they've deforested much of their region and built stone and steel monstrosities all about. The roads, though very well maintained, seem to be very sparse in the way of travelers. As you travel, the air grows chiller, or you find yourself rolling across snow-covered lands and riding through large gates. You see the word Preslav in iron letters across the iron gate as you roll under it. Before you see what looks to be a fenced-in metal camp filled with crude structures, a large mine nearby. You can see wizened, beaten, and weakened prisoners clearly moving in and out of the cavern, some carrying picks and some moving out towards nearby woods under guard. A large, fat human steps forward, a leather gambeson, all he wears against the cold. You find yourself forced from the cage and placed in a row of additional, what you now term your fellow inmates. I am the warden, John Jannison. Welcome to Preslav. Work hard and perhaps you'll see your freedom one day. I run a strict prison. I expect no nonsense, any given, and you will be punished severely. Any questions? Seeing none, move through the line, collect your new uniform, and elect your prisoner number. That is your new name. Memorize it. If you do not respond, you will be punished. If you attempt to be responding to any other name, you will be punished. Is that understood? You hear a low grumble from the other prisoners.
I'm opting to remain silent here.
Okay. I want to give you the opportunity. Alright. The line shuffles off, collecting a white linen smock. Clearly seen better days, as it's patched and grayed. Clearly gone through just a hasty wash. And you recognize it as similar garb to what you've seen the others wearing.
Ugh.
And then you see a smaller man showing slips of paper to prisoners as they approach. And you hear him read off a series of numbers one at a time. As you approach, he shows you a slip of paper and reads out, prisoner number 5934702. Got it?
59347002.
Move along. As you shuffle off, discover this new life that Sylvanas has presented to you in search of balance. Hey, that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're getting sent to the prison regardless, but it's how you get there.
That's fine.
That's the journey.
As Adam said, his was really fast. Mike's was what I expected in length, and then Dave's took forever.
Fucking Dave.
Dave did a good job. He tried to get away. He ended up getting himself more charges, but
He had a silver tongue and was very crafty up until it all came to bite him.
I was thinking about running, but then I just thought back to my backstory. I was like, yeah, I can't be doing that.
I tried to blame the cows.
you did try to blame the cows. All right. Sorry.
It was also one of those situations where I found a barn past the cows that I went in, and there were already dead people in there, but there were like coins on the table, so I started to take the coins and they called me thief, and I'm like, fuck, I failed the RPG test.
Ryan, that's your prisoner number. You'll find that out when we do a session 0. Session line 1 for you, but for the sake of session 0, that's your prisoner number.
This prison's popular.
Adam's been tracking all the numbers.
Not all of them. I just figured I'd type up Chris's in case he hadn't.
You were comparing them all when we did yours.
Alright, fair.
Come
Like I said,
on.
I'm going to ignore the fuck out of these numbers.
It's been less than 1,000 since everybody came in.
That was the real curiosity. Was it going to change from 5934? But
No, that'd be excessive. That'd be pretty crazy.
I mean, we're up to 5934, so.
Oh no, you're all 5934.
Right. But I'm saying
Oh,
in
okay.
general, we're up to that. So.
Yeah, well, you don't know how long Press Lab's been around. So yes, you all find yourselves somewhere in the north of Mars, or perhaps the north wildlands, the northern tundra area. No matter whichever way you came through, you see no sign of nearby cities. So you do note that there seems to be a cart that comes and goes at least once a week, picking up ores and lumber that you and your fellow inmates have harvested. Whether you're recalcitrant or reluctant or willing prisoners and workers, you all find yourselves one way or the other doing this work. You find yourselves either deep in the mines, slaving away at ores and walls with pickaxes, many of which seem to break after limited use. You can tell that they've been used by hundreds of hands before you, as their well-worn handles show. Some of you are lucky enough to avoid the caves and find yourselves out on wood chopping duty. You find yourselves out in the cold snows. You've all experienced the callousness of the guards, whether it be from overwork, dehydration in the mines, or watching as the guards laugh as hungry wolves tear a weakened prisoner away from the work party and out into the tundra itself. In your time here, you've got to know 4 guards in particular. Willis seems not one of the overly cruel. Tends to give a little bit extra food when he sees a prisoner's been a little too overworked or water. You think he might be a bit soft in the head, but seems an overall good sort for a prison guard. Roll, R-O-L, sadistic sort. seems to take special pleasure in kicking around prisoners who get in his way. Most have learned to skirt his presence whenever he comes near. Pieter? Not much to say about Pieter. He seems to just do his duty. He joins in when the group seems to be having their fun, but doesn't go out of his way to initiate. And Paulus. Paulus is one that everybody tries to avoid. Prisoners have gone missing when they've got on work camps with him, more often than with any other guard. Prisoners have been stuck in mine shafts overnight for failing to meet quotas, and Paulus has been the one to oversee them. Rarely do prisoners make it out after such a night.
All right, I'm sorry, one more time. Roll as the sadistic guard.
Yep. Roll is sadistic, overt about it, very clear. But Paulus, doesn't seem to be sadistic in and of himself, but prisoners around him tend to go missing or are found dead.
How do you spell it?
Palls. Sorry, Pallas.
Confirming, Pieter's just Pieter.
You got it.
You said he was the one that was just your standard guard by the book.
Seemed to be joined in with the group, but never initiated.
And who was the nice one?
Willis.
That was Willis. There are a few fellow prisoners that you're aware of. Zook. You may recall Marl was arrested with you, and you find him in camp as well. Does not seem to take kindly to your presence. You probably recall why. There is an elven female by name of Ilion. She
Are
seems
these
to...
PCs?
What?
Are these PCs or NPCs?
Everybody's NPCs. You guys are the PCs.
That's what I was saying. I wasn't sure if you were introducing other players.
No. These are just more NPCs.
Okay,
These are people that you've
were they-
all at least encountered in your time.
So you said Zook?
No, Zook is Mike. He knows Marl.
Oh, Zook knows Marl. Okay.
Yes. Ilion is one that you've all not likely met, but have heard of. As an elven female, she seems to have created some kind of prisoner power base, where she has a number of hangers-on that make sure she is well fed and taken care of, and that her quota is always met. As far as elves go, she seems to be particularly hard, so you're not sure why she's here. Silon the Quick, halfling male, encountered numerous times. Seems to be the go-to guy if you need anything in particular. Though, obviously things are hard to come by within the prison itself. If you need an extra heel of bread, he's the one to talk to. An extra swig of water, he's the one to go to.
What's his name?
Silon the Quick. Silun, the Quick. You also see Margaret around camp quite a bit, a human female, commonly known to be the camp whore. Though she prisoner herself, she gets off of most work duties by trading favors with guards.
Slutting herself out.
Though Dave is not here, you've all encountered Esmeralda, a dwarven woman who is a former tavern owner. Dave's character is quite familiar And then, of course, the quirky madman of the group, Adrastos Hector Gottlieb, a gnomish man, something of a tinkerer, though clearly his mind is gone. He's found often laying random, half-hearted traps, either in the woods or in the mines. Quite ineffective in themselves, though you can see his handiwork throughout most of the mine shafts, as he's been here for quite a long time. He's
What's
often
the name?
Adrastos Hector Gottlieb. He's most often... You got it?
I'm gonna fake this spelling.
Here, I'll put it in there.
Damn it, K.
He's most often found on one end of a mine shaft or another, speaking softly to small moles and other burrowing creatures that he finds in the mine. Seems to be a generally friendly sort, but more than a bit weird.
Crazy prisoner with fetish for mine.
However you want to keep track of him.
I have female elf with created power structure in prison. Silun can get things. Margaret's the camp whore. Esmeralda's a former tavern owner, and Adrastos Hector Gottlieb is crazy prisoner with fetish for mine.
I mean, that's the basics. All right. So, the more recent of you have been in camp for maybe a week or two.
Have we met each other?
You've seen each other around. You've got names. You've seen people. So, because he's not here, you've also seen a halfling bard around named Jeanri Quilbero.
All right. Can we get all these names typed out so I can make
That's Dave.
Everybody type your names for me.
But it's so difficult.
You don't have to give full names. Give whatever you'd be going by. You don't have to give full class if you wouldn't have revealed your class.
I don't think you'd be able to discern class just by sight of me, so.
And
Right.
nobody has gear, obviously. So that includes spell component pouches, spell books, weapons, armor, clothing outside of your smocks.
Do you remember whether he went by Jan or whether it was Jeanri? Did he specify any of that yet? We lost him.
Yep.
I gotta look up Goliath one more time.
What name are you going by, Ryan?
That's why I need to look up Goliath again.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Because I'm pretty sure they don't use their names.
Sorry about that. My internet crashed, apparently.
Ah.
What was the last thing you heard me say? Because I was talking for a bit before I realized nobody else was moving.
It was just the... just finishing going over player characters and whatnot.
Okay.
I had asked you if you recall if Dave went by Jan or whether he was Jeanri or if he'd even specified any of that yet.
He hadn't really specified.
Okay.
He'd made up a name in the city, so I don't know how he wants to be called.
Okay, I'll leave him at that then.
Common practice among the prisoners is not to share the reason for their incarceration, though some do. Most tend to try to keep their distance, as deaths among inmates are not uncommon, whether due to grudges between the inmates, the wilderness, or the guards, or just the sheer fact that it is brutally cold and you are given limited warm weather gear to even sleep at night in, let alone the smocks you wear during the day.
Oh, Lawrence, as a Goliath, I am used to tundra weather.
So you have a bit of an advantage over your fellow prisoners.
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, yeah. But all I'm trying to say is it wouldn't be uncommon for you to walk through the snow and there's another dead body, or go down the mine shaft and somebody collapsed.
I was just saying that, like, moving forward. I mean, I'm once I get an opportunity, I'm gonna type you up a backstory and all that stuff. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to give you a heads up.
Perfect. Good to know. Are you from the tundra? Do you know that much?
No, I'm not from the tundra. All Goliath are mountain-born.
Okay.
So because they're mountain-born, they don't take disadvantages to,
You have a huge advantage, sir.
Hold on, I'm on the page.
At least in the beginning of this campaign, you have a pretty big advantage.
You're acclimated to high altitudes, including elevations up and above 20,000 feet. You're also naturally adapted to all cold climates as described in Chapter 5 of the DM Guide.
How tall are you?
I'm really tall. I am 7'9" and I weigh 297 pounds.
So you rarely find yourself being forced down a mine shaft. You are almost always
cutting wood.
Yeah, mostly because you don't fit in most of the shafts.
Yeah.
I do.
So you have been forced down them to drag carts from time to time. But you rarely find yourself mining, more dragging out the carts. So I was saying, those of you more recent, i.e. the last two, have been in camp for maybe a week or two. The rest of you have been closer to a month or two. The time is hard to tell with the drudgery of the day-to-day.
Where is carrying capacities? I know I always struggle
Strength
with
times
this.
15.
That.
But what if I'm larger?
I mean, it's the same. It's just you have differences with weapons.
Well, no, I have a trait called Powerful Build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift.
Yeah, let me see if I can... I had that written down for...
You and Adam will find that.
Oh, that's right, because you said Furbolg had it.
Yeah, so I had it written down for heat, but I don't recall if I kept my note on that. But I remember where it is, or at least I knew I found it.
What is it? What's the trait called?
Powerful build.
Alright, not okay. Those. There's that. Should have it. See, under lifting and carrying, because that makes all the sense. I hate this index. Size and 176.
I think it has to do with encumbrance.
Oh, probably. So I'm not encumbered on the next size up. I should have made a Kenku.
Alright, larger creatures can bear more weight, whereas tiny creatures
Double
can
the
carry
creature's
less.
capacity.
Yep.
So it's strength times 15 times 2.
Okay, because I can
Or strength times 2.
So strength times 15 times 2.
Or strength times 30. It all comes out the same.
So I can carry 540 pounds.
Yep.
Hence why you find yourself dragging out ore carts.
Yeah. Because, what is it? Dragging is double that?
Something like that. Page 176. Player's Handbook. Alright. So you find yourselves assembled around a campfire, huddling to stay warm for the most part, eating your bowls of gruel, looking enviously as Pavu is given a double portion for his large size. Not only are the group of you huddled around the fire, but Silent the Quick has joined you this night. Esmeralda and Adrastos as well. And a spattering small handful of other prisoners whom you have not caught your notice enough to catch to know their names.
I'm not Pavu, I'm Keen Eye.
Okay, well, I've got Pavu, Kenai, Kathu, Olavi. So I'm going to call you whatever name I can, and once I get used to whatever you want to call yourself, you do that. And until you give me a backstory, you're whoever I say you are.
Right,
Ha!
I'll be Pavu for now then.
I'm going by what I got first written. If you start calling yourself Kenai, and everyone calls you Kenai, that's what I'll call you. But
And where am I looking for load capacities? What page?
176. The stars shine overhead, the moon is bright, the wind is chill, as you all huddle silently around your campfire. You recognize each other. If not personally, at least you recognize each other. A handful of other prisoners, and the three I named. What do you do?
I'm eating my gruel loudly and happily, as if it tastes delicious.
He's a kobold if he didn't say that. Because that's very obvious.
Do we want to give descriptions of our characters or no?
Yeah, please, go ahead. Everybody describe so you know what you're looking at.
Alright, since it was just specified that I am a kobold, yes, I am
Yes, I'm a kobold.
yeah.
That's it. That's what I look like.
No, I'm pretty young, but kobolds don't tend to live long enough to be old, so take that as you will. A little over 2.5 feet tall, and I am orange and red-brown mottled for my scales. And I come from the northern forests and caves, so I don't know how that relates to whether or not I'm wearing this temperature too well or not. Certainly not as good as Ryan, but...
The door?
The door is 5'10", $160. He has long brown hair. And despite being in a smog, he has done his best to have everything prim and proper. And while everyone is eating, he is taking advantage of being outside and doing his best to commune with nature.
Kenai?
All right. I am 7'9" and 297 pounds. I have two different eye colors. My left eye is gold. My right eye is green.
He's a witch.
A shaved head, fairly burly beard. Tribal tattoos cover my arms, chest. But on my back, to distinguish, specifically distinguish, amongst all the myriad of tribal tattoos is a one gold eye and one green eye that are tattooed to look like cat's eyes.
You also note that he's wearing a smock that is poorly stitched together from what you guess is at least 3 normal smocks.
I was gonna say.
Zook?
I am a middle-aged gnome, standing only 3'3". Got kind of got black hair with bits of white in it, fairly short. Eating my gruel and kind of keeping to myself, but enjoying the company.
All right. Silent the Quick has light brown hair, though it tends to be just covered in soot and ash, making it appear more black than anything. Notable feature about him is his left eye was put out at some point, and crudely. And it shows signs of having been either burnt out or been quenched with fire after the fact, as burn scars around his left side of his face are quite extensive. Despite this, he seems to always have a cocky or cocksure grin plastered to his face, as his eyes are constantly darting about, moving, and watching everything.
Well, one of them is.
I was going to say, his eye.
Fine, yes, his eye. Esmeralda, a stocky dwarven woman. From what you've all encountered, she seems pretty no-nonsense and quite upset about her tenure here. You've all heard her muttering about genre or that damn halfling bard ruining her life. Oftentimes she's heard talking fondly about her bar and tavern, wishing to get back to the Salty Maid.
Salty Maid?
Yep, that was her tavern. And then, of course, there's Adrastos Hector Gottlieb. It's possible to be eccentric in a white smock. He's managed to do it, as he's found loose strings and tied small pebbles across it in varying colors, shades, and shapes. Small twigs are also thrust through, forming weird adornments to his outfit. And the occasional small animal tooth or claw hangs from his ear, though you note that it seems to change from time to time, though you're not sure where they go or where he's getting them. He's most often found muttering to himself or laughing at a joke that no one else has heard. His gap-toothed smile is often on display, though his wild eyes seem to take in everything as they stare about wide, though unfocused. His curly golden hair that seems to come out in tufts and patches with random bald spots. Currently, the only noise around the campfire besides it crackling is Adrastos muttering and cackling to himself. So what do you do?
I do have a few questions. You say I've been there for about a month?
Yep.
All right. How often and how thoroughly am I searched? And if possible, Zook has been kind of keeping an eye on any sort of routines the guards may have. Any things like shift changes and things like that.
All right, give me an intelligence check.
That's a 22.
All right, mark down. You have a +2 to any checks to determine guard schedule or routine.
Okay.
And though you're not checked frequently, you're pretty sure your shared bunkhouse is tossed pretty regularly. You're not wearing much when you're out at work, but you oftentimes come back to find your bunkhouse is quite thoroughly tossed or flipped or searched through. Not that there's much access to gather any resources, which makes the fact that Silent is able to grab stuff, get stuff for you, all the more amazing. Any other questions?
Based on how I've said to you, I plan on playing this. How often will I have ended up in the pit?
You found yourself there quite a few times since you've been here. Oddly, you found it almost comforting. The dark solitariness. But yeah, you found yourself on the receiving end of boots, not only from the guards, but from your fellow prisoners quite often.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty much staying to myself, seeing as I feel as though I'm new to the camp. So I'm just kind of like away from, on like the outskirts of the fire, eating my sludge.
After I happily finish my gruel, I will just place the bowl to the side or whatever, and I'm going to begin chuckling with Adrastos, trying to act like I'm catching the joke that I didn't hear.
Oh, yeah! You heard it too, then.
Eric's here, fine.
Let him. Silent rolls his eye and kicks at Eric's. Stop it. You'll only encourage him.
What? Eric's no lie. You're just fine.
Takes a small fist and pops you on the head with it. Said, stop it.
Ow! Always with hit.
Does he hit him hard?
Not really. It's more like a bonk.
I'm going to shoot a look across the camp at the guy who hit the kobold. But not say anything, just stare at him, eat my porridge, and then...
His eye stares meaningfully back at you as his grin returns to his face.
Then I will maintain eye contact as I eat.
Can I notice this?
Yeah, sure.
Big new friend, you okay? Haven't blinked.
I don't even acknowledge the kobold, I just continue eating. Staring down, Cylin.
Quiet, new friend. Lots of those.
And I keep eating. Still staring.
Silent's grin grows only broader. Keep up that kind of attitude and the guards will get you in no time. Don't care how much you lift or move.
Pick on someone your own size.
He looks down at himself, looks at Eric. We're about the same size.
Eric's big for kobold.
He's, what is Cylin? Elven?
Halfling.
You know what I mean.
Bah! He's a monster. Surprised they didn't just run him through instead of bringing him here. Not even the other kobolds in camp like him, though.
I don't care who likes him. The
Eric?
statement stands.
Eric say again. If they want real monster, should have arrested black and white creature.
Oh, I love it.
They were terrifying, standing there in a herd, his pack mooing at once.
I shift my eyes back down to my porridge and continue eating.
Yeah, I'm not defending that guy anymore.
Oh no, I'm still defending. I continue to cast a look up to see.
Chris is just shaking his head.
At least you have intelligent PCs, okay? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Shaking your head.
I'm gonna break my communion and stand up. I miss the forest. So much more quiet.
Hey, sit down. Prisoner eating time. You hear from Pieter.
I quickly straighten out my smog and sit back down. I finish my gruel.
Once I finish what I'm eating, I'm gonna start kind of like grooming my like not grooming it, but like combing it forward and making sure that it's not unkempt.
Quiet forest unnatural. Prefer sounds of forest.
You all watch a bit stunned as Drasto suddenly flops to his belly and starts crawling over towards Zook. On the ground, he starts poking Zook's foot.
I look down and smile.
I duck and cover by my seat.
You're not quite sure what's happening, but you can all hear whispers as Drasto seems to be speaking to your moccasined foot, Zook.
So he's just sitting there poking me? That's all it is.
Whispering towards your foot.
Oh. I'm going to lean in to see if I can understand what he's saying.
Give me a perception check.
That's a 15.
You're not even sure what language he's speaking. You can hear words. You're not sure if it's actual language or what. Seems to be harsh and sibilant, though.
Scatman.
He's the scat man.
I'm going to lean in, and in Gnomish, I'll quietly ask, anything I can do for you, buddy?
He looks up wide-eyed, and in loud Gnomish, got any pebbles?
I shake my head.
Gotta get back home, man. They got the best pebbles. Switching to common, he starts crawling around the fire on his belly.
I will peer around every now and then to see if he's still crawling, and if he is, I return to my cover.
All right. This is a weird group. I like it.
I'm going to stand up and stretch.
Hey, sit down, I said. Don't make me come over there. You hear from the little ways off from Pieter again.
I finish my stretch without looking at him and then sit back down. Basically just like loosening up my huge limbs.
I do have another question I forgot about. When we got here, they said something about not using magic because there's some sort of field. Is that anything I've been able to detect?
You haven't been able to detect it, but you haven't been able to cast any spells.
Okay. There's just no overall presence that I'm being...
Right.
Okay.
You all seem content to sit in silence as Esmeralda raises her head and is about to say something, most likely chastising the still crawling Adrastos. You all suddenly feel a shock of pain as almost a wordless shout seems to echo through your minds. You hear it echoed from across the camp, causing you all to momentarily collapse to the ground, unsure of what just happened.
Can I make a constitution check to not collapse?
Sure.
$22.
Well, you're definitely rocked backwards. Goliath's strength, constitution allows you to retain your seat, though you're still quite a bit boggled by whatever just happened.
You all think Crawley Friend crazy, but he's right about things.
Adrastos sits up, smiling at Eric's. Adrastos Hector Gottlieb!
I try to repeat it back to him and fail.
Well, try.
Adra, friend.
He bobs happily.
Fuck you, Chris. I'm enjoying myself.
I enjoy it. I'm not giving you shit.
I was gonna say, if he's shaking his head, like, in unappreciation, I'll lose my fucking mind after the session we had, like, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, we had a great session. It was a lot of fun.
I'm just simply saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too when it comes to stuff like this.
All the other prisoners seem to groan and try to struggle back to their seats. What the fuck just happened? You hear from Silent.
You said the scream kind of happened, like, mentally?
Yeah.
So it didn't, there's no directional basis.
Nope.
Can I do an Arcana check to see if I can think of any reason that would have happened?
Sure.
Could be a 20, not natural.
Outside of somebody casting a spell, which to your knowledge is not possible here, you have no idea.
Come here.
Eric's head hurt from inside.
Oh boy.
I am going to look distraught and anxious. No, it can't be possible. Balance must have shifted again.
Yeah, balance all wrong. Everybody fall over.
He's not wrong.
I'm gonna dart a dirty look over there.
I'm going to keep an eye on the guards and see what their reactions are to what we just experienced.
Give me a perception check.
$15.
The guards all seem to be holding their heads to some degree. Your eyes widen a bit as you see Roll walking in your direction. A glare plastered to his face.
I'm going to avoid eye contact and just kind of sit there looking at my now empty bowl of gruel.
Comes shouting up, You are a wizard, right? The rest of you can see him pointing at Zook's back.
I give a hearty nod and yes, sir.
You did this! To the pit with you! He grabs you by the scruff of the neck, hoisting you to your feet.
Bye, wizard friend!
I offer no resistance, but I say, I did no such thing. It came from across the camp.
I
You
stand
arguing
up.
with me? You stand up.
No, sir.
Yep.
He draws a dagger, which he was clearly about to direct at Zook, but he points it at you instead. Sit down, big man, unless you want to lose a leg.
Ah.
He grins back at you. You really want to challenge me, boy? We don't got a pit big enough for you, but maybe if we chop some limbs off.
Everybody hate Pick kinda nice.
Shut up, kobold, or I'll put you in there with this guy.
Okay.
And he shakes Zook roughly. Okay.
I shrug.
Get over here now, then.
I shrug and approach roll.
Big man, you sit down now.
No
While
honor.
He spits on the ground. Screw your honor, prisoner 59347211. Sit your butt back down now before we take your legs off. Or put you on wheels and have you haul ore that way.
Big friend also has long name.
Shut up, kobold. And he kicks you.
Ow.
while all this is going on, do I see any keys on his belt or anything like that?
Perception check?
14?
Nope.
Okay.
Roll seems to be glaring at Keen Eye, waiting for him to sit.
I let out a long, deep sigh. If the circumstances were changed.
But they're not. You're a prisoner. Now sit down. I don't like repeating myself. I will go get an axe and cut something off if you don't sit down now.
It's okay, big friend. Pit not bad. I watch him.
Shut up.
Every friend just no like Eric's.
I kind of like stretch my muscles out, staring the entire time at him. And then very slowly sit down. And as I do so in giant, I say, I would rip your head off with my bare hands and fuck your eye.
Roll points his dagger at you some more. I don't know what you just said, but you're on water only for the next 3 days. He grabs Eric's by the scruff of his neck, shaking him roughly, literally lifting him from the ground. Grabs Zook by the graft of the neck, shakes him roughly, and starts directing them both off.
As he begins pulling them off, I laugh and say, you would enjoy it.
Silence shakes his head. That was stupid, big man. He's gonna make your life hell as long as you're alive here. You're new. You just made the biggest misstep you could have made. Outside of annoying Palace, that is.
I shrug. Where I come from.
Where you come from doesn't matter. Sorry, big man, but you ain't there. You're in a prison camp. Don't know what you did. Don't care. But they didn't rough you up on the way in. They'll do worse here. Zook and Eric, you find yourselves sharing a small 5x5 pit about 20 feet down. Hard-hewn rock all about. Not quite large enough to lay down. Oh, sorry, not 5x5. It's about 3 feet wide, so not quite wide enough for a normal person to lay down. Though you two are small, you could probably manage it. You kind of would have to overlap, and the ground itself is uneven and sharp rock.
How far down from any opening is this pit?
You're about 20 feet down with a steel grate over top.
Okay, so there's not really a lot of light down here?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Even if that grate was opened, is there a good look that they could get in?
They can look in with the gate closed. There's enough. It's a grilled grate.
Right, but it's not cascading any real light source down.
No, you can see a little bit of light from the stars and the moon.
All right.
But even in daylight, you're probably still in darkness down there, unless it's like noon.
It's rough rock, but I'm a kobold, so...
Yeah, you find it not too bad.
Yeah, can I make any progress in sort of widening the bottom of this?
You can attempt to do so.
All right. Not in like a big opening, but like I'll make room to sleep.
Yeah, you
Kinda
can use your try. Give me a strength check.
16.
All right, Zook, you watch as your erstwhile companion here leans down and starts clawing at the stone walls with her claws.
Does it seem to be making progress?
Not really. You see a few chips coming off. You know, if you had a lot of time and a lot of energy, you could probably do something, but he seems to be quite determined. Give him that.
See, pit not bad. No guards down here.
Any pebbles he might produce, I'd like to pick up. Do I have pockets?
What?
Do I have pockets?
No, you have a smock. A very simple white, well, not really white. It was at one time white smock.
Okay.
Time to smuggle prison style.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a pocket.
Hey, Adrastos, I got those pebbles you wanted.
So yeah, I'm gonna pick up a couple of any pebbles he produces, and I'm also gonna survey the pit for any sort of holes or openings, any things that might let water or anything else drain out.
You don't see anything being able to drain. In fact, now that you're down here, you're pretty sure you just the thin layer of water at the bottom is probably the remains of former prisoners who couldn't hold it.
Okay.
Paying no mind to that at all. I'm going to continue digging until I run out of energy and just fall asleep where I am.
All right. This is an opportunity for you two to talk. Get to know each other. It's like speed dating without the speed part. Or the dating. Zook, I mean, this guy did just volunteer to go down with you. Whether or not you consider it a good thing, he did volunteer to come down with you.
I mean, so he just kind of dug and collapsed and went to sleep.
I haven't
He's
gone
still
to sleep
digging. He's
yet.
not
I'm still
collapsed
digging.
yet.
Yeah, that's just my overall
He's
plan
slowing.
is to just.
He's slowing down, like clearly getting tired.
Has he made any notable progress since he started?
No.
I'm one kobold, not a team of. And also Hard Rock versus.
Chris has got it. Chris knows.
All right. Sorry. I wanted to respond to
Silent.
Silent.
Yeah.
Do you know what I said?
Oh, no. Doesn't matter, though. It still annoyed him. Speaking a language he doesn't understand is a quick way to do it. Standing up when he tells you to sit down is another way. Looking at him is a third way. Don't worry. If you need anything to eat over the next 3 days, just talk to me. We'll work something out.
I nod slowly and say nothing else.
Alright, I got 2 separate groups here. You guys can talk if you want.
I guess while he's digging, once I'm done checking out the hole, I'll just kind of sit back and watch him for a little bit, see if he says anything. And once he starts slowing down, I'll ask him, so, you dig like that in a lot of places around here?
No. And aside from mining, Eric spends a lot of time in pit, but I haven't made much progress. Only Eric's.
With a grin on my face, I say, well, keep at it. I'm sure you'll get somewhere.
I know Canada's not going to RP with me, so.
Okay, I won't then. Jesus.
Not going to be like that. Like, give him opportunity and let him...
I was letting other people talk.
I'm going to try my best kobold whistle as I dig.
Essentially, you're hearing... As he digs. Clearly, lizard lips are not made to whistle.
Or kobold lips?
They're lizard people.
Oh, lizard lips. I thought you said wizard lips.
Close.
Yeah, I'm just going to lean against the wall and kind of just watch him with amusement.
Alright.
Alright. Dig, sleep.
Well, yeah, Zook, you're left with a sleeping kobold, a small amount of just clearly piss at the bottom of the pit with you, and almost perfect darkness.
Does he have any sort of pile that he's managed to scrounge up?
Not really. A few chips here and there, that's about it. The door, anything?
I was waiting for those two to finish. I've been waiting for my opportunity. Sorry, I don't like talking over people.
No need to apologize. I know.
It's too late to apologize.
Dang it. Ah.
Yeah, why must you do that?
It upsets the balance.
I'm trying not to do the meat thing again, so... Unnatural.
Do what?
Upset the powers here.
Upsetting powers?
The guards. Just let things be and you'll be able to eat for the next 3 days.
This is not the way. There must always be a level field. There must always be 1-on-1, 2-on-2, but a fair fight. These guards know nothing of that. They flex their power. Hold my food from me. Ha! You think that will bother me?
I let out a
It means nothing.
I let out a soft chuckle. 1v1, 2v2, perfectly balanced. I appreciate your insight. Tell me, are you gonna let me braid that beard? It's all chaos. You must let me bring order to that thing, please.
I stare him hard.
Man love, it's love between two guys. Let me braid your beard.
I do not know what or how to braid.
Oh, just let me bring order to this thing. I can do it. I'll show you.
A bonding moment. Silent and the other prisoners roll their eyes. Esmeralda lets out a low chuckle.
And your hair's next.
Not like right.
What? No, braid like the dwarves. Surely you've seen a dwarf with a braided beard.
Not until I came here.
Keeps things in order. It's cleaner. Trust me, you'll like it.
I understand order, like Goliath way. Everything on even playing ground.
And soon your beard will be even.
But not what they call
I don't know how you're keeping a straight face, right?
Not interested. Just, I gotta clean this thing up.
okay.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know how you kept a straight face, Ryan.
Commitment to the bit.
That was pretty good. So you're gonna go braid his beard?
I'm gonna braid the fuck out of his beard.
Give me a dex check.
17.
As he starts, if you pull too hard, I will rip your fucking eyes out.
Ah, worry not. Nimble fingers.
And as soon as he says that, I just kind of and leave. And let him do what he's got to do.
I am. I feel better. Like my anxiety goes down a couple levels as I start cleaning this thing up.
Alright, you slide a few rocks over and move over, making sure to appear as if you're still sitting as you start deftly braiding his beard. You're able to do so deftly and quickly, giving it quite a good, much better semblance of order and presentation.
Ah, much better. If only I could do something about those clothes, but can only fix what we can.
Will you have to continue with beard? As
Not
it
for a
grows?
while until it grows out. Or, in case the guards rough you up. After what you just pulled.
I pulled nothing. They think they are greater than everyone else. They are not. This is not a level field. 1-on-1, 5-on-1, I would destroy them all. And at that, I kind of roll my shoulders. I have done far worse.
Hate to run into you on the battlefield, that's for sure.
What is your name?
The door.
Well met. And I grab his arm by the forearm.
Your arm encompassing his entire slim elven forearm.
And thank you. I like this.
Fumbling for a second. Oh yes, this. And I extend back outwards. My first handshake. What an odd custom.
We do not give it lightly. The Goliath way.
Interesting.
The true way.
Hmm.
Balanced, like you say.
We're gonna get along just fine, Kenai. Just fine.
With that, you hear a sharp whistle across the camp. Rack time! All prisoners move to the bunkhouse.
As I stand up, I introduce myself formally. I am Pavu Kenai Katho Olavi. But Kenai works.
And session.
Awesome.
Instruction chance for everybody to start meeting each other, give you some notes about where you are, what's going on.
I apologize to all of you, as what I did is gonna be a constant.
I was shaking my head. I was like,
new best buddy.
it was like it. I was just laughing. I wasn't giving you shit. Sorry.
No, I knew you weren't giving me shit.
I can't wait for Mike to start being able to cast his spells, because that's going to blow Eric's mind.
Oh, fucking Dave. I already love this character.
What did Dave have to do with it?
Because if he was here, we could be playing. Oh no, we'd have to wrap.
We'd have to
the
wrap
other
up the other.
Yeah, we'd have to wrap.
Yeah,
up
we're
the
not
other.
starting this until the other's done. This was just like a little something for the week.
Like a month and a half away.
But yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued by this group. Once you become a group, if you become a group.